All right, so how am I going to do this to sound genuine and sincere? Because I really am. I am a compulsive eater. I eat whatever's in front of me whenever it's in front of me. And I am a terrible diabetic. So I'm type 2. So I don't know if you are or are not, but do you find yourself just constantly eating if something's put in front of you? Or even if it's not in front of you, do you find yourself wanting food? Because I have that problem, that issue of I want to always reach for something. And in fact, before I sat down to do this, I was looking around thinking, I want something to eat. I need to put something in my mouth. I need to have something in my hands. And I fought hard not to. So I tried, fixing some hot tea and things like that. Do you guys go through that? If you do, my guest today is Kay Loughrey, and she's actually an expert dietitian and nutritionist. She's also the author of Happy Life at a Healthy Weight, and she could be found at sweetlifewellness.com. But let's get past that and let's try to figure out what the connection is really between food and shame. Now, I don't have anything myself personally between food and shame, but that's something that we need to figure out, or you need to sit down and figure out. And then we need to go and figure out, how do we get past these challenges of compulsive eating? And that is something that I want to do, need to do. And my habit really is not just all day long, just snacking and eating bad food. I do eat good food as well. But when it comes to nighttime, when I sit down in front of the TV to binge watch some sort of streaming show, I always have to have something there. I'm allergic to nuts as well, but I eat nuts because I love nuts. But I do know how much I can eat. So are you as bad as I am with that? Because again, we're going to talk about some strategies on how we can come up with a formula, if you want to call it that, to optimize our health. So I took this to heart to listen to what Kay had to say. Now I'm going to do my best to make my adjustments. So hopefully this is going to be of benefit to you guys, but it is something important to listen to. So please sit back, listen, and share this important message. And the other thing that's very important to me, near and dear, is if you are a pet owner, please be a responsible pet owner and have your pets spayed or neutered. Thanks. Welcome to Amazing People, Amazing Things with your host, Chuck Tuck. Kay Loughrey, thanks for joining me, because this one is a big one for me, because I'll tell you right now, upfront and honest, I am hungry. And because you are an RDN, a registered dietitian, a dietitian nutritionist, and you also have an MPH, which is a Master's of Public Health, I'm hoping that you can help me, because we're going to talk about Happy Life at a Healthy Weight, your
Yeah.
newest book. So welcome.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. Um, you know, this weight stuff, I could stand up and show you and say, I'm not overweight. And I think part of your mission statement is to, really help those who are trying to diet and possibly lose that extra weight. But I know that there's a lot of us who don't have that extra weight, but we are not healthy eaters. So I'm hoping that we could touch on that and help people like
Sure.
me as well.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, healthy lifestyle helps all of us. So,
Yeah, it certainly does. And like I said, I need some help. Why is it that you got into, being a dietitian, nutritionist, and so concerned about weight? I see you and you look fantastic. You look like you're a healthy person and in great weight.
well, thank you. I've worked on it for years. And so, I had to be my first client, just to put it very simply. It started when I was 8 years old. I started with a devotedly unhealthy relationship with food, and I overate for years, and actually comforted myself with food. It's one of those things that's easy to grab, easy to comfort yourself with if you're not feeling good about something. And so, I mean, I think that is an epidemic across our nation as we first we turn to food before all else when something's not quite right. And for me, it was, I experienced trauma as a child, and so I didn't want to tell anybody, so I was overeating kind of out of shame, and so it was overeating for years and yo-yo dieting for decades, and I looked in the mirror and I didn't even like who I saw. So it really took decades before I got help, and finally I did get help, but I also became a dietitian to stop being controlled by food and feeling that shame. So it became really a quest for me to, like, somehow, some way, I was gonna overcome this.
What is this connection between food and shame?
Well, it's very interesting because actually in my book that's the first section of it. And for women, a lot of times food and shame go together. And there are kind of three roots of food and shame. And one is that, just as kind of mentioned, a trauma. The second one is your family roots. And I'll talk probably about one of my clients. And, her family just, it was conflict avoidant. Just don't say anything. Don't bring anything up. Nothing bad will happen. And then, the third is the body image, particularly for women.
Mm.
You can never be thin enough, and the standard is to be gaunt. And my like favorite example, and I'll never forget this, was seeing this picture of Michelle Obama, and they were focused on her little stomach. There was a little bump on her stomach, as if that was horror of horrors. There was an outcry, and she's so fit, she's so healthy, and she probably just had lunch. But we want women to be very, very gaunt, and it's kind of a double standard. So and then it oftentimes turns into food and overeating and kind of a vicious cycle, because we're stressed, then we eat to relieve our stress, and that creates more stress. So that's what
Yeah.
it is.
The overeating, or the lack of eating, or the lack of having proper nutrition,
Mm,
kind of all goes in hand, doesn't it? When you have that stress and when you have that shame, and like you're saying too, women, I would agree. Women have it more difficult as far as that outward appearance, where people are looking and saying, "Oh, you got a little bump there. What, you're eating a little too much, aren't you?"
right,
Uh,
right. Yeah, that was what they were pointing out, probably.
and I correct me if I'm wrong on this. I think one of the worst. Well, I don't know if it's the worst, but one of the worst things I think is when you hear that and you think about that and you say, "Well, I'm going to stop eating," and you stop
Right.
eating, and then you get trim, but you think you're getting in shape, but you're not. You're doing your body great harm, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And that's yeah, the eating disorders are another, especially for a lot of teenagers, it almost becomes a thing to do, and then people get thinner and thinner, and they think maybe they're looking better, but they're kind of skeletal. They're looking like they're a prisoner of war. And so it's really, really important to help, to help young girls, especially. It happens sometimes to boys as well, but less often.
Yeah.
That just being having a healthy appetite, a healthy approach to food, and there's a lot parents can do to help out with that, and in terms of being non-judgmental and just letting your kids, eat until they're full, and don't like lay on this, clean the plate club, got to eat everything on your plate. I mean, I still have clients who come and tell me that. They've been told that, and that what that does is they force themselves to eat, and they can no longer tell when they're full. It's so it really it's an overlay on the appetite control, and so it's actually very damaging to do. So if I could say one thing to your listeners or viewers, that please don't do that to your children.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's the one thing. It's I think it's one of the stronger things that gets ingrained in your head from when you're little, both about eat everything on your plate and also don't eat so much. Don't eat too much. I think
Right.
both. And I think that's
Yeah.
what, at least I think, it creates that unhealthy diet. And part of your
Hmm.
book and your subtitle is creating a shame free, healthy relationship with food and life.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, and
So,
that's why I emphasize more of self-acceptance and being true to yourself, finding out what you're feeling and what it is you truly want, rather than just trying to fit in. That's where the people pleasing and what is somebody going to think if I do this? There's a lot of second guessing, and then we never get to know ourselves, and so we don't even know what we want. And so we just do what everybody else is doing, trying to follow along because we've lost our way with our own self.
yeah. Now, I have a question, and this is going to be a personal question. Would be
Okay.
about compulsive eaters who, I said there's no shame or anything in my life that I could think of, but I compulsively eat late at night, midnight
Uh-huh.
and beyond, and it's all
Oh,
kinds of junk. I stay up late, watch movies, and eat. What is happening to
okay.
me, Kay? Am I? Do I have some hidden issues, or is it
Yeah,
because I've put it into a habit that it's become this compulsive thing?
right. Yeah, I mean, it literally could be either, but sometimes people just are night owls. They just stay up late, right? And that overeating can be solved by going to bed at an earlier hour. So that's a lot of people when they're over, and you're not overweight, you're telling me that, I can see that. But a lot of people, when they come to me and they are overweight, they do stay up late and they're eating. That's when they're munching away. And so, it's something to think about. Why am I doing this? What is it about? And sometimes maybe your only me time is late at night. There's nobody else. You have like you can do whatever you want to do, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and some people actually rebel with food. They feel like, well, nobody's gonna know. I can eat whatever I want, and nobody's gonna judge me, or I'm free. So it's worth asking yourself, hey, where did this start? Did it start in childhood? What am I getting out of this? Is this really what I want to be doing? Usually with overeating and emotional eating, I ask people to go through a 5-step process. And a key part of that process is what is it that I'm feeling right now and what is it that I really want? So if you could, put yourself in the frame that you were in maybe last night or whenever, what were you doing? What were your food cravings? What was stimulating it? And by the way, TV does stimulate a lot of overeating. And
Oh
it's
yeah.
it's actually designed to make you want to buy something, want to consume something, because that's what TV was created for, right? To
Mm-hmm.
sell advertising. So, and if you make people feel satisfied, they're not going to go buy things. But if they feel unsatisfied, they may go buy a truck or get some beer or most easily grab some kind of chips or something.
Yeah,
So,
you're absolutely right about that. And you're making me think back to last night, and I know I had this craving for sweets, um, and I was digging around trying to find something just to occupy
mhm.
myself in time while I was watching TV, kind of like going to the movies. That habit of the popcorn and
Yeah,
soda.
yeah,
Uh,
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
uh,
So it's worth a little reflection just if you're interested in kind of seeing what's behind that and what else might I do.
does it help if you sort of kind of journal this? If you're late at night or whatever, you're sitting there and all of a sudden you feel this hunger coming on. Is it kind of helpful if you're like, oh, I'm sitting here, I suddenly feel
Yeah,
hungry because
yeah.
I either doing this or thinking about this? Could you think that could help?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And you could just kind of if I do what I usually do, what I'm going to do right now is, but maybe tonight I'm not going to do that because I'm journaling about it. But here's the whole scenario, that I'm, and yeah, say what am I thinking? what is it I'm feeling now? And for one of my clients, Katie, when she was eating, and a lot of this happens for people after dinner or late at night, she was feeling lonely. And so
Mm.
she was trying to feed, she was trying to cure her loneliness by being alone, drinking 2 or 3 beers or 3 or 4 beers, eating a bag of chips and a bowl of ice cream. And I mean, it was a lot of food after a whole day's worth of food. So what I talk about in the book is how we changed that for her. She wanted to lose some weight. She came to me. We worked on this, and it can be you can cure this issue, but it takes some being intentional, being conscious of what you're doing. So I love your idea of doing the journaling because it just makes you it gets helps you be clear, like what's going on here.
Yeah, I was thinking about that because of the fact that, like I said, if you're a single person and maybe if you are lonely, you're not talking to someone, so that's why you're feeding yourself, you're feeding your mouth and opening it like you're communicating with your food. I know that sounds crazy, but that's what I'm thinking. But if I stop to write something down, I'm communicating. Uh,
Yes.
does that sound crazy?
No, I think that's a great idea. I think that's a great idea because what's happening when people are triggered into their food cravings, they're going into automatic pilot, and that's a fight or flight response. And so what we want to do, and that's for the third step to stop being controlled by food, is to pause and slow down. So journaling is a perfect way to pause and slow down and reflect. Then on that, the step 4 that I have is reflect on what you're feeling and what it is you really want. So, maybe what you really want is to communicate with somebody if you are feeling lonely. And for Katie, she I asked her, what is it that would help you in this situation that's not eating? And so we gave some options and she said, "Hey, well, I'll call my sister. My sister and I are really close and yeah, talking to her would really be a good alternative to like eating a couple of thousand calories of food after, after dinner." A lot of food.
Well, I'm gonna have to think about that one and find out who's gonna take my call at 2 a.m.
Well, okay. I'm not sure. If you
Can I
have
call
any
you
other.
Doc? Can I call you Doctor K? May I call you at 2 a.m.?
No, because I will not be. See, my favorite solution is go to bed earlier. So,
Yeah.
and that's a lot for my clients who have weight issues. If they went to bed earlier, they would feel better when they got up in the morning and they would feel more likely to, get their day going, go for a walk, do some self-care.
This sounds a lot like, your circadian rhythm, I think, would play into part of this as far as
Mhm.
setting yourself to go to bed at a certain time and, put yourself in a regimen and wake up and get your body back uh, into sync with the way it
Yeah.
should be. Is
Yeah.
that a good way?
Yeah.
Okay thinking?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. When you say should, I would just say optimizing it.
Optimize.
Yeah, if you wanted to optimize like how much energy you have and how you're going to make the best use of your day and feel your best, yeah, you try to fit into what your body needs to be at its best.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a very good point you made. Yeah.
Well, it's all the health of what you eat is so important, and I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm nothing like that. I'm a junk eater, I'm a garbage eater, I eat everything. But I listen to you and folks like you, and I do know, and I think I'm like so many people, we have an idea of what we're supposed to do as far as being
Right.
healthy, but we just don't do it because of some kind of block. Are there, well, this is silly. Are there mental blocks? Are there blocks? And how can we get past some of these
Yeah.
blocks that we have?
Yeah, there certainly are, and one of them I'm very familiar with because somebody in my family used to say this. I don't want to go on a diet because I'll be hungry all the time. I hate that, and so that's a belief. And with the people I work with, I don't want them ever to be hungry. I mean, maybe a teeny bit hungry, but to be hungry, hungry, where you're grumpy and you're like, all I can think about is eating, that's not a good place to be. So I think a lot of times people set themselves up for, I can't do this because of that, and to their own disservice. So,
Mm.
so that's why part of what I do is help people remove the inner roadblocks to their success, both the weight loss and life. Because let's say you're a perfectionism and if you ever make a mistake, oh, I ate one donut, let me eat the whole box because I made a mistake, that's not going to make things better. It's going to make things worse, right? It's not going
Yes.
to. So self-punishment, getting over some of these old routines that we've established, we just keep doing them because we haven't thought it through. We haven't gotten in tune with what we really want and the life we want to live. And so, I had one client who came and she said, I'm 60 now and I want to be an example of a healthy older adult. And so she said, I want to be able to be fit and do these push ups and do, sit ups and have all the energy that I want to have. And that's what we did. I mean, she was able to do that once she had a vision of what she wanted to do. It's kind of like, let's say you wanted to be a pianist, and then you say, okay, what am I going to have to do to be a pianist? Well, I need a piano, I need to practice, daily, I need to have some music. So it's being able to envision what you want to be, who you really want to be, and then put a process into place to make that happen.
But this is like a mind shift. You need to
Yes.
you're you need to tell your brain to control your body and your actions and to make this new routine and whatever else it is.
Yeah, especially if you have a reason to do so.
Mm.
If you don't have any reason to do so, oh, I want to live longer, I want to do this for a grandchild, I want to climb a mountaintop, or if you have a reason, people are much more likely to go for it. Like maybe going to China and they want to, climb the Great Wall of China. So you need to be able to, can't be huffing and puffing after the second step. You say, "Oh, I can't do it." You've got to get in shape.
You say that, and I'm kind of chuckling to myself because you're so right. I've heard in the past year a number of friends and people say, "Oh, I'm going to go climb this, or I'm going to go to Kilimanjaro. I need to get in shape. I'm going to get in shape." It's like, isn't your life the reason to be and stay in shape, and not just as one particular event? And and
Right?
the, and I
Yeah.
know people who do it for
Yeah.
one event and then they go right back into, you know, I got no
Right.
reason.
Yeah. Exactly. You need a larger purpose in life that you're, and that's why children and grandchildren, or if you have them, are great because most people want to be around for their children and
Yeah.
grandchildren.
It definitely sounds like each and every one of us needs to find that motivator, that motivation.
Yes, the key
Um,
motivator. Yes.
because a healthy life is motivation enough. Well, motivation, but it's just not enough for some people. And like I said, they need to find that more of that tangible. My
Yeah.
grandkids or my child or climbing that mountain. So,
Right. Yeah, or
um,
being mobile. Some people are like find themselves panting when they're going up the stairs and they're just
mhm,
out of breath and they realize, boy, I don't want to live like that.
yeah.
So it takes something kind of immediate for a lot of people. Oh, I can't get on the bus because I can't lift my leg high enough. Then you have a clear message. You got to do something about that then. It's time, right? It's time to do something.
We could make it even go. We could be so vain and make this a vanity thing and say, you know what? If you don't like your body, you can help yourself make that change. But I also want to throw in there myself to say that just because your body may not be what it looks like on that movie star, don't go for that and say, I need to lose that weight for that. Just be healthy. There's a healthy weight, which doesn't mean that you're going to be, a size 2, because that could be
Right.
not healthy. You could be a size
Right.
9, you could be a size 11, 12, and
Yeah.
be healthy.
Yeah. That's right. Eat a healthy, and I usually say a healthy weight is wherever you feel best at.
Hmm.
It's rather than some arbitrary weight. So, where do you feel like you're optimized? Again, that's again that word we were talking about. Where would you feel like yourself and feel good about yourself and
Yeah.
confident?
Uh, K, I feel like just saying Dr. K, because you are
Well,
the
I don't
doctor
have
of life and
I
food.
thank you. I don't have a doctorate, but thank you.
Where can folks go to get more information about you, about wellness,
Yeah.
diet, and things like that?
Yes, well, I have a website and it's called sweetlifewellness.com. And you can also, I've got my book right here. People can also get my book, Happy Life at a Healthy Weight, through Amazon or your bookstores. And I'm on Facebook, Sweet Life Wellness, Instagram, LinkedIn, X.
Everywhere.
And we actually are having a new fall coaching program starting up soon. So if people want to go to my website, book a time with me, they can see whether or not this program we have which takes you through the holidays. The holidays are hard on a lot of people. So
Oh,
we're just about to go into that, starting with Halloween.
yes. I mean, not only is there all that additional food that's being served to us, there's the added stress of whatever might be during the holiday season. I don't have enough money to buy the gifts I want for my children, or maybe you have a loss of loved one, or just memories of
Yeah.
stuff. But yeah, yeah. Uh, this is, we are upon that season of comfort food.
Right. Yeah, and even Halloween. I've had some clients that started with Halloween and then they just kept going with sweets throughout the rest of the year. They bought the Tootsie Rolls for the kids, but they ate them all before the Halloween trick-or-treaters came. So,
I'm guilty of that. I bought a couple of bags of 275 candy bar things, and I picked them out specifically because I liked what was in there, and I've already opened one of them.
okay. Well, a trick somebody recently told me about, she only buys candy she doesn't like for Halloween.
Okay, I tried that, and I say this in all seriousness with uh, fig bars, fig Newtons. I used to, when I
Okay.
was younger, I bought them because I did not like them. And then what happened? They started making um, cherry fig bars, blueberry fig bars, the chocolate, and I love them. And I eat them, and you look, and it says, "Oh, a lot of carbohydrates and sugar."
Right. So there went that solution.
It did. um, you know, all this information is really good, and I think like what we were talking about is folks need to get that mind shift and find that reason, that purpose.
Yeah.
At least that would be a start into
Mhm.
fine tuning a healthy diet. Do you, is there, this is kind of off topic, but it's sort of kind of on. Is there something that you would consider or call a superfood, or is there a superfood group or anything like that for nutrition?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think everybody would say fruit and vegetables are really good for you. They're filled with all kinds of stuff, and there's antioxidants and fiber and all that good stuff. So, yeah, people adding more, especially vegetables. Usually, some people think fruits are not good for you, but they are because they've got like a cocktail of antioxidants. So, yeah, those are the good for you foods. What I tell people though that are working with me, you can have anything you want, it's how much and how often. Because I feel like the minute you like put some food, is prohibited, then that's all you want. Oh, don't eat donuts, don't eat ice cream, then that's what you want. So I subscribe to, if you like pizza, allow yourself to have piece of pizza, but just decide how often it's going to be and pace yourself.
Okay, yeah. That's really good. It's can I say less than moderation, but you can have some.
Well, it's a different way of putting moderation. Just, just there's that whole idea of forbidden fruits I mean, I love chocolate. I have to say I'm a chocoholic. If somebody said you can never have chocolate again, I would say, well, you wait and see because I'm having some every day. I have a square of chocolate every day, and so, you don't have to be perfect.
Uh, you know those bags of candy I told you about that I recently bought and opened up. I did. Here's what I did. I ended up doing because I knew that this was bad for me. It was a terrible guilty pleasure. I took out five of the five bars and I threw them in the refrigerator in one of those slide out drawers, so it's not right there in the cabinet for me to see all the time. I took the rest of the bags of the candies and I put them in the trunk of the car
Oh, clever.
because I don't want to go out to get it. And the now I'm telling myself the five that are there, I want it, but I can tell you it for somehow, some way, it's put a barrier between me and that because I know
Yeah,
that okay, that's like an emergency thing. I'll
right,
get it when I'm really really want it or I want to treat myself.
right. Yeah, but you've made it harder for you to go. You've taken it out of your immediate environment,
Hmm.
which is which is fabulous. Good for you.
Uh, I hope I'm doing half the things right and going in the right direction.
Sounds like that one is a winner. So,
Well, again, this conversation is really important, and I want to just say thank you very much because what you're doing, I think, uh, is helpful to every single person. This is not a good for this group or good for that group. This is, I think, uh, for all ages, for everyone.
yes, that's right. I totally agree.
So we'll make sure that we have all the information so folks can go to your website, follow you on the social and all that stuff. Because now I'm hungry, but I am gonna eat healthy.
Oh, good. I love hearing that. Thank you so much, Chuck. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, Kay. I appreciate you, and I like I said, I appreciate you doing this and getting the word out for folks to be healthy, men and women, boys and
Yeah.
girls.
Yes, absolutely.
So I'll say, have a great day. Don't eat too much, and make sure you stay hydrated.
That's right. Hydration is a good way to start the day.